Okay,
We
thank you.
continue and we move back again to inverters. And we're happy to have with us Aakash Sharma, who's the product certification manager at Sungrow, Germany. And he will talk about shaping the future of solar power plants with batteries and intelligent inverters. Aakash, it's your turn.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Thanks for the introduction. Let me share my screen. There we go. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yeah, perfect.
So, first of all, greetings, everyone. Thanks for joining. Very shortly from my side, my name is Aakash Sharma. I'm working as a product certification manager at Sungrow, based in the Munich office. And I'm taking care of making sure that the products are compliant to the existing and the upcoming market requirements, and that we possess the certifications needed to demonstrate those compliance. In today's presentation, I will share an overview of modular PV inverters and the hybrid best solutions for utility scale markets that we at Sungrow have to offer. So, very shortly about the company. So, Sungrow was founded in 1997. It was listed on Shenzhen Stock Exchange in 2011. We have a workforce of more than 17,000 people, out of which 40% are involved in research and development. And then, of course, there are certain international recognitions here. Our focus is on 5 fields: solar, wind, ESS, EV, and hydrogen, which are further distributed into 10 different fields. Today, 10 different business units, so to say. And today, we focus on solar and ESS technologies. So let's dig into the utility product portfolio. So here is a portfolio for the utility market. So in the inverters segment, we have, yeah, better. So for the inverter segment, we have 350 kilowatt rated string inverters. And then for the central inverters, we have the modular 1 plus X series, generation 1 and 2. For energy storage segment, we have PowerTitan series. And then and of course, there are accessories for power control and monitoring services over the iSolar Cloud platform. For today, we focus on 2 products, the second generation of 1 plus X modular inverters and the PowerTitan Series 2.0. And at the end, I will talk shortly about the grid forming requirements for which are currently in the market. So let's talk about the products. Here you can see the transition of Sungrow central inverters over the period of last 6 years. In 2018, we launched a central inverter with a rated power just above 3.1 megawatts. Just 2 years after, a fully innovated modular inverter was launched called as 1 plus X. And this year, the second generation of 1 plus X is launched. It's a complete upgrade of the first generation, while of course incorporating its advantages. Now, amongst the many upgrades, let's talk about the 2 major upgrades of Generation 2, 1 plus X. So just as a background, these are modular central inverters, meaning based on the project requirement, a certain number of X blocks can be connected. So the first generation, the rated power of one block is 1.1 megawatt, and it can further be extended to 8 blocks, so generating 8.8 megawatt of power. The second generation, on the other hand, it's the rated power of one block is 0.8 megawatt or 800 kilowatts, but it can be extended up to 12 blocks, amounting to 9.6 megawatts. So now we have higher availability as compared to the first generation here. Um, and and moving on to the second upgrade is the operation and maintenance, is the efficient operation and maintenance. Now, this may sound quite generic, but let me shed some light on it here. So the first generation, this was just one block, and the whole block has to be replaced just in case there is a requirement of maintenance or there are some failures. But the second generation, it's a split modular design. So the whole segment is split into inverter module and the distribution module. The distribution module consists of some cables and connection, and the inverter module consists of the core components, which are IGBTs, capacitor, fans. So I would like to say relatively the components which are relatively more prone to maintenance as compared to the others. So it leads to easier replacement of these components. And interestingly, the inverter module, so that the top inverter module, it weighs lighter than a typical 300 kilowatt string inverter. To be more precise, 10 kilos lighter than the typical 300 kilowatt string inverter. And in our experience, in our observation, it should take less than an hour for its replacement. Now, last but not the least, it integrates self-cleaning air ducts with real-time monitoring, which means it detects air duct health and automatically activates the reverse airflow for the dust removal. So considering all these aspects, I think OnePlus X 2.0 offers a superior O&M experience here. Now moving on, here is a visual representation of the turnkey station solution. So as you can see, there are four inverter blocks on the either side of the MV block. And yeah, so in between there is a MV transformer and a RMU switchgear with block communications, auxiliary power supply cabinet. And so this provides you a holistic solution for your PV projects to connect to the grid. And now here are some reference projects installed globally with OnePlus X modular inverters, with hundreds of megawatt project and some with gigawatt capacities as well. Now, let's talk a bit about energy storage. So as we know that the capacity of wind and solar is advancing, I think it's a no-brainer that the storage is a key component here, which is experiencing a rapid growth. And here you can see the forecast for 2024 about the new installed global capacity, which was projected at 142 gigawatt hours. But then the actual installation exceeded by 30 gigawatt hours, accounting for 172 gigawatt hours. And this additional 30 gigawatt hours capacity was added majorly by China. So their forecast was 71 gigawatt hours, but they have added 100 gigawatt hours in 2024 and plus and minus in other regions. So I think we can expect a similar trend in the next years, that the best installation forecasts will be exceeded, which is a good sign. Okay, so now let's talk about the Sungrow best products here. So the latest utility scale ESS product we have is the PowerTitan 2.0. It's a liquid-cooled energy storage system, adopts 314 ampere hour battery cells to make up the battery module, and then eventually realizing a total unit capacity of 5 megawatt hours within the 20 feet cabinet. And yeah, so there are a lot of innovations in PowerTitan 2.0, but I'm gonna keep it short and significant and talk about just the two of them. But figuratively, it consists of 12 racks, so to say, with 4 battery modules each. And in total, so in total, it makes 48 battery modules, accounting for 5 megawatt hours, just to give more clarity here. So then, yeah, moving on to one of the innovations. So it has integrated PCS. So as you can see, we have 12 racks with one PCS each at the bottom. So in total, 12 PCS. So if one rack, which consists of four battery modules, is at fault, only one PCS is affected. Which means the charging and discharging of other racks and the functioning of other PCS, it stays unaffected. However, in a conventional centralized energy storage system with just one PCS for all the racks, if that PCS is at fault, it can affect the whole system. And in this case, if this PCS is at failure and there is no spare part available, the average lead time for the transportation and repair could take approximately 15 days, leading to horrible consequences. So this is one big advantage here in terms of having the individual PCS. Now, moving on to the second aspect. So PowerTitan 2 has liquid cooled system, leading to increased system life. Now, how does that work? So here, both the battery pack as well as the PCS, they are liquid cooled, which means heat is evenly dissipated on cell level and on the PCS level. What we have observed is that the cell temperature difference is less than 2.5 degrees, which then leads to an increase in system performance by approximately 2 years. So what happens is the reduced cell temperature difference, first of all, it maintains a better state of charge and voltage balancing. So this reduces the overall stress on the PCS. Second, the reduced temperature difference, it increases the overall round trip efficiency of the system. So I would say these are the two key advantages of PowerTitan 2. And now here are just some reference projects signed globally with PowerTitans, which are spread across Europe, UK, North America, Asia Pacific, and Australia as well. And here is a short overview just to demonstrate the AC coupling and DC coupling capabilities. So on the left, we can see the AC coupling solution for PowerTitan 2 with AC block or with the integrated PCS. On the right, we have the DC coupling with PT1. So just one converter here. So it's possible to implement both the solution structures here based on the applications and techno-commercial topics. So this is about the solution structure here for both AC coupling and DC coupling. Now let's move on to the last topic, which is grid forming requirements. So just as info, so the two products we discussed, PowerTitan and modular inverters, they both possess certain grid forming capabilities. I will not talk about the technical details this time because we have a limited slot here, and we already have one dedicated grid forming presentation before. So I will stick to the bigger picture. But in short, the products, they possess the core capabilities, which is, of course, acting as a voltage source, providing the virtual inertia, and supporting black start. And here, talking about the market overview, it's just an outlook on the market requirements. So from North America, Australia, and the UK. So there are many white papers and guidelines published by different countries stating what requirements must be possessed by a grid forming equipment. At the same time, it has been observed that the requirements somehow differ in the different regions based on how the TSOs or the contributing regulatory body, how they see how the grid forming technologies should contribute to the overall system. So I think it's clear that there is an urgent need to harmonize the requirements. But yeah, hopefully at least for Europe, we have we will have RFG 2.0, the European Grid Code, and we also expect more grid forming, more specific grid forming requirements coming up there, and which then has to be adopted by the European member states, which will have a transition period of 2 to 3 years. But now then, last slide for today. So this is about grid forming requirements in Germany. Um, on the left, you can see uh, the ruling published by Bundesnetzagentur. That's the regulatory body in Germany. So they published this ruling last month in April about instantaneous reserve procurement of inertia for the German market. Simpler words, basically the German TSOs will pay the BESS and other resources for their inertia capability based on a fixed pricing structure, which is expected at least by the end of January next year. And on the right side, earlier this month, FNN published technical requirements for grid forming properties for the provision of instantaneous reserve. So whoever wants to participate, yeah. So again, in simpler words, whoever wants to participate in this market, they need to make sure that their grid forming converters are certified as per the FNN guideline. And so this is the new guideline, because there was one guideline published last year in 2024, and sorry, and then there is a latest guideline published 2 weeks ago by FNN. So thank you very much. That was all from my side. Thanks for your attention.
Thanks, Aakash. So since you ended with grid forming, so maybe question on business models here. So how can you make money there, or can PV power plant operators make money?
Yes. So thanks for the question. So here, as I mentioned in the last slide, so on the one side we have the ruling mentioned by the Bundesnetzagentur. What they have mentioned, so let's not go into, I will not go into details, but the bigger picture here is they have mentioned 4 products as in services, where the project developers or the stakeholders can participate here. So they are based on direction, positive and negative, and the availabilities. Short example, they talk about basic product and premium product. So the basic product will be if you have the capability of let's say 30%, not the capability, but the availability of 30% to feed into the grid, then you have the base product, then you get paid some money. But if your availability is more than 90%, then you have a premium product, so you get paid a lot more. So these are, I would say, the standard products or the business models. But the pricing structure, we will expect it in the next 6 months. But what is important, I would say, for all the OEMs is to have, for at least for the German market, to get the certification for the grid forming capabilities, because it seems like that the certification is not just a checkbox anymore for a contractual agreement. It's I will call it a fundamental currency of business trust between the different stakeholders. So certification is of vital importance here, and I think this will affect the business models as well. So yeah, shortly on that.
Cool. So maybe one question also on your product, because you are a company that's offering both string and central inverters. So what's the trend you are seeing in the markets for both of that products from the customer side?
So from the customer side, we see that okay, BESS is not a topic for future. It's already required. It's a present necessity. So any project developer who is talking about getting into this field or expanding their projects, we are talking about retrofits here. and the trend is like they are focused on the retrofits with BESS, not generally, but they are asking for grid forming capabilities here. So it is then the responsibility of the OEMs to have the core grid forming capabilities, and because I think the solution architecture of the hybrid models is quite clear. It's getting mature. The idea is the idea is pretty much clear. But what the project developers or the investors are focused on is generating the revenue from these technologies. So I would say grid forming is now the hot topic.
Okay, but again, string versus central inverters. So I think so mid-sized power plants, there was a strong in the past, it was, or in the recent past, it was mostly string for the mid-size. Is this continuing, or are there any changes with this sort of modular centralized products that you are now having in the market? Are you seeing also companies opting more for those products, even for smaller PV power plants?
Yes, so honestly speaking, we see a balanced trend here. So even for bigger, let's say bigger megawatt plants, we see the request from the project developers that we want to for some projects we want to have a certain flexibility. So we want to have the modular inverters in place, which provides the turnkey solution as well, along with the MV stations. So we are talking about the transformers and RMU switchgear here. But at the same time, we also see the request that we want to stick with string inverters, for example. So it could be that we have a standardized solution. So I would say that there is a balance between both the string and the modular inverters. Yeah.
And what's the reasoning opting for the one or the other? Is it just the that the developer likes the one better than the other, or what's
So it depends on techno-commercial reason here. So some project developers, it could be that they have standard inbuilt solution with the string inverter, so they want to stick with that technology. We are happy to provide the 350 kilowatts, or we also have the 250 kilowatt solution for that as well. So depending on the market requirements, stakeholders may have different opinions how they want to navigate into two different approach. From our side, we want to make sure that we have solution for all the requests from the customers. So if the request is string inverters for the techno-commercial reason, we have it, we can go ahead with that. If you want to stay a bit flexible with the modular inverters, we have that technology as well, to wrap this up, I would say.
very diplomatic? Thanks, Akash.